Hello friend, it's Mark out on the back 40, and in this episode it is mid-March here on the west side of Michigan, and I'm just taking a springtime walk. You do all your recon this time of year and maybe make some adjustments to your plan. So let's just kind of do a little recon from last year and kind of what the plan's going to be for this year. Over time, I have come to realize that I like to use analogies, and so I'm going to go through an analogy with you, and it relates to business because that's kind of what I do outside of this. But what I want you to think about, and this is what I'm saying I do this, so I'm suggesting that you do this. I'm not telling you to do this. For some people it'll work, and some people you couldn't care less. This is stupid. But I like to think of my property as a business, and what I am trying to do is attract customers. I'm trying to attract clients, because clients are repeat customers. A customer goes and buys a refrigerator and leaves. A client comes and buys a service from you, and then they come back the next day, or the next week, or whatever, and like you develop a relationship with them. And so in this case, the property, I'm the business owner, the property is the business, and the deer are my clients. The best clients that are out there are 3.5-year-old and older bucks. Those are like the best clients. But I have a lot of other clients that pay the bills. And pay the bills means I get to watch them, and it's fun to see them, and there's does around. If you need meat, you can get them. But the big paying clients, the ones that we really like, are the mature bucks. So what I always like to try to think about is, in business, is what do the clients want? And you can ask them what they want, and they're human beings, so they can communicate and they can say things, and then you adjust the business to meet their needs and get more business, and you grow, and la. So I try to think of my property the same way, and I'm suggesting that you do the same thing. So with your property, you've got this business, and the deer tell you every year, unfortunately, they don't have human voices. They cannot communicate. But their actions are almost as good as verbally communicating with you. So what did the deer tell you last year? That's really what I want you to think about. What did they tell you about your property? What did they tell you about your business? What did they tell you to improve on your property? What did they tell you to improve on your business so that they become a more loyal client? So for me, I guess if I'm sitting here, I've walked the property for about 15 or 20 minutes so far. They have told me a couple of things. I guess I'm thinking right here, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a pretty nice trail coming through right here. You see this right here? So what the deer just told me is they like trails, and let's walk in here a second. Is this goofy? This might be goofy. But look at this trail. Can you see how tight that is right there? And what it goes through is all these poplars that I cut down a couple years ago, and it came up real thick. So the deer just told me, hey, we like trails that are tight and they have a lot of cover, and I feel good. And in case you're new on the channel here, we're on the west side of Michigan. Here is a high pressure hunting area. I have 40 acres here. It's a 40-acre square, and hunting pressure on both sides, lots of hunters. So that's why the deer tell us that they like tight trails. So there's number one, they like tight trails. And if I go down along this line here too, there's a couple others that come out of tight trails. Number two, if you can see, this food plot is not very wide right here. That width is probably 20 to 25 yards. So the other thing they're saying is, hey, we like tighter food plots. Okay, I can do more of that. What else have they been telling me? Well, they come out of this trail right here a lot. And what's up in here, see this trail? Again, another trail. What they're telling me is they like the bedding that's up in here, because this is about 5 or 6 acres right through here of this thick stuff. And if I come up in here, like you can kind of see, like it's thick in there. It's not open like this field here. It's not a mature woods. It's thick. About 5, 6 years ago, I went through and cut a bunch of pine trees down in there, and now the sunlight has got in there and made it thick. So they tell me, hey, we like it being thick too. What else have they told me? I don't know. Let's go look around and see if we can find some other stuff. Also, while I'm right here in this spot, another thing that they told me, see this blind right here? Really doesn't bother them very much. But this little spot right here has a lot of clover in it. It really didn't grow any of the other stuff. And I have pictures after, like every morning, every night, there are deer, multiple deer in this little spot. I mean, this is only 30 yards by 30 yards, but it's right next to this bedding right here. And then it's right next to those trails I showed you where they're heading out to the farm fields. And they would sit in here and eat on this clover for 15, 20 minutes every morning and every night before they get in bed or when they're just leaving bed. And I've got that blind right there. So what that kind of told me was, you know what? They like clover. I have not been focused on clover. So I'm thinking about this. One of the things that I had a mature buck tell me this year was that he likes to bed around this pond here in the middle of our property. Now you have to trust me, there's a pond like right here, 50 yards away, not even that. Here, I'll bring you over there. Anyways, he told me he likes bedding there, but he does not like coming out in the daylight in the evenings. He stays in the thick stuff. So here, I'll just kind of turn around here. This is where he likes to hang out. There's a pond right there. And I've showed you this before in other videos. Right next to it here on this side, he's got a bed right there. And he will lay in that spot and watch over everything happening out in these food plots out here. It's still thick enough for him. He's comfortable. It's the middle of the property, so he never gets interrupted. I got to show you something that's funny. So this is the middle of the property, and I'm giving this to the deer, right? And I would suggest the same for you. Just think about it. And so one of the things I did, I won't bore you with it over there, but I'm going to show you right through that, right over there. This is the middle of the property. Right through the middle of that, about 5 or 6 years ago, I planted a bunch of streamco willows because I had a trail that went right up the middle of the property. And I thought, oh, I'm going to plant some streamco willows there to screen when I go in and out of here. That's so silly. I'm leaving my scent there. You know, 3 hours later, they come to the pond to get a drink of water and they smell me right there. And so then, you know, and then I wonder late in October, like, why are all the deer gone? You got to stay off your property in high pressure areas. No scent allowed, unless there's scent there all the time. Unless you walk there every day, summer, spring, winter, all the time, and they're used to it, then it doesn't bug them. But all of a sudden in the fall, they start smelling me walking through there. The smart ones, you know, the bucks, they're like, I'm out of here. Anyways, so the buck likes, and this is for a few years now, he's been bedding around this pond. And so what I have to do, and the reason I know that he doesn't like coming out in the until it's dark out. He'll get up and move, but he won't step into one of the shooting lanes. Is because Janice and I were sitting in a blind on the east side here a couple of times, and we would see does out in the shooting lane eating, and you could tell there was something else with them. And then, right, you know how it is when you got the binoculars out, you could just see the outline of him standing just outside the shooting lane. Like, I mean, he was right there, but just this big, huge blob of dark. And then it would finally get dark enough and he would step out, but it was too dark. You couldn't see anything. So what he told me was, I like bedding here, but it's not thick enough and I don't feel comfortable enough quite yet being out in a shooting lane in a food plot. So I got to figure that one out. That one he told me where I'm not right. I got part of it right in that he's hanging out here. But the part that I need for him, even though Janice got him later in the year, was that he didn't like coming out there at night, and I want to be able to get a shot at him. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. And that's one of the things that I've been talking about, if you follow the channel, is the food plots, trying to get more structure in the food plots, more height, so they feel more comfortable. Now what I got to figure out is how wide do I make the shooting lanes? Maybe I'm making them too wide. Maybe I need to skinny them up or curve them a little bit. I don't know, but lots to think about. Anyways, all right, let's go. What else did we get? What else did they tell us? One of the things they told me that I need to improve, which is a little bit of a hit, you know, I think I'm doing such a good job with food plots, and I'm really not. I would expect deer to come out and do a food plot, and if it's a really, really good food plot, they'd hang out there for a long time. Long time being half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. But most of the time what I saw is that they would come into the food plots and they would stop for a little bit, but it would only be for 5 or 10 minutes to graze on a couple of things and then take off. So I'm not sure that what I have been planting which is mostly rye, crimson clover, some millet, you know, just those kinds of things. That's not really getting it for them. So that's one of the things that I need to improve. And so what did they tell you about your food plots is I guess the question I would ask you. What are they telling you about your food plots? Think about what exactly happened. Okay, so you get the point. I've kind of rambled on. I don't want to go any longer with this. So my takeaway then really is this. They like a lot of the cover that I have on the property. They said, you know what, we like the cover. I think what they told me is what they like the best about the property is that they feel safe. When it's October, November, December, they know they're not going to get bumped in the middle of this property. They know nothing bad is going to happen to them there. They don't think that they're being hunted. And so that I think is what they're telling me I'm doing right. What they're telling me I'm doing wrong is that I still have too much open ground. I think too much is too open. And that my food needs to be better. So I haven't processed all this yet. I literally just come out here and turn the camera on and start talking. But I got to think through that a little bit more. And I guess so to end this, you know, what have you done? What are you thinking the deer told you about your property this year? What did they tell you about your cover, the security, the food? What did they tell you if they like to get in close to your blinds, close to a shooting area? Do they like it or not? You know, what are they telling you to do on your property? They have the answers. We just have to be smart enough to think about it from their perspective and what they told us. They told you the answers. They told you the answers. They told me the answers. So I just have to figure out what the questions were and then how to execute that and make it better. Okay, thanks for watching.